Hello world and hello amazing Philippines. Good day to all. Today we're going to have another lesson, and of course we are now with the last module of your technology for teaching and learning 1. This is again of course Sir A, okay? And wishing you good health and of course praying the best. Okay, particularly in life. Today, we're going to discuss about the social, ethical, and legal responsibilities in the use of technology, tools, and resources. So, for our, of course, objectives, uh, we have the following. The first is describe the community of learners as citizens who share and utilize digital materials. The second is practice standard Netiquette in sharing and utilizing shared materials among learning communities. The third is identified examples of intellectual property right in educational setting. And lastly, of course, showed or gave examples and observed social, ethical, and legal responsibilities in the use of technology tools and resources. So technology, of course, brings ethical issues to the forefront long before, of course, learners learn how to handle real life situations from an ethical, of course, standpoint. And of course, whatever we do, we are, of course, accountable. So students, of course, do not have much preparation, okay, for cyberbullying and copyright issues. And teachers not only contend with students bringing devices no to school, but also their various skills levels in using them, and of course the internet. There is one professor, actually is a lecturer in named Christopher McGivery, recommends an approach, of course, that can help us mentors and of course students, okay, not just to help, but of course it demonstrates and guides students in learning how to use technology effectively. And he offers, of course, the acronym TechSmart. It is an option for helping students navigate and the ethical waters of their digital world. So, of course, we cannot deny the fact that students now are very techy, and of course, they have all the ways and the means in order to, of course, um, get information and even explore a lot of things in the internet. Okay, we will discuss now, of course, the tech smart, or the tech smart rather. The T stands for take care of technology equipment. We have to take good care, of course, of our equipment. The second is letter E, which explore appropriate and safe sites for learning and research. There is always a must for us to, of course, look for safe sites. Then copyright, we need to make sure that we are abiding with, of course, the copyright law, the Fair Act, Used Act, and of course, Creative Commons that matters or matter. Then we have letter H is for help prevent cyberbullying. Then self-image is important, which is S. And make use of Netiquette for M. And we have also A. We need to always give credit to original source. Then R is to remember to be effective, thoughtful, and ethical digital creators. And of course, T is for think. Okay, so as of course teachers, we need to integrate tech smart now into our, of course, lessons, and of course in creating our lesson plans. And always encourage, of course, our students to think about the purpose of technology in all digital interactions. So that's very probably nice. Okay, let's have lesson 18, and it is about digital and, of course, the digital and the global citizenship. Okay, we have here the characteristics of a good citizen of the Republic of the Philippines and even probably of other countries. So a good citizen, okay, advocates for equal human rights for all. and treats others, of course, courteously, and of course, never bullies. Then does not steal or damage other property or persons. Then communicates, of course, clearly, respectfully, and with empathy. I like the word empathy there. Okay, and of course, respectfully. Next is, of course, a good citizen actively pursues an education and develops habits for lifelong learning. So we do not stop learning even as we age, probably, or we graduate our undergrad course or baccalaureate degree course, we still continue. Okay, having master's degree or probably doctorate degree or attend seminars, conferences, and so on. Then spends and manages money responsibly and upholds, of course, basic human rights of privacy, freedom of speech, and etc. And a good citizen protects self and others from harm. Of course, we need to have self love, no? We need to protect ourselves. It should start within ourselves, and of course, proactively promotes their own physical and mental health. So it's as what I mentioned, it should start within ourselves, no? Within us. Okay, as we of course promote to protect the health, okay, or the physical and mental health now of others. So it should start within us. And we have, of course, now the digital and global citizenship with the characteristics of a good digital citizen. So let's start with, of course, number one, a good digital citizen advocates for equal digital rights and access for all. But of course, based on our discussions and, of course, lessons, okay, that we have, of course, problem with the access for all because not of all can have access, particularly with, of course, the internet. So if you do not have, of course, data or load, probably you cannot have. So take note during, of course, the online class, some of the students cannot or probably did not attend the class, no, because of these. And of course, treats others with respect in online spaces and never, of course, cyber bullies. Then do not steal or damage others' digital work, okay, identity, and of course, property. Okay, then makes appropriate decisions when communicating through a variety of digital channels and uses digital tools to advance their learning and keeps, of course, keeps up with changing technologies. Then, of course, number six, it makes responsible online purchasing decisions and protects, of course, their payment information. The number seven is upholds basic human rights in all digital forums and protects personal information from outside forces that might cause harm. And lastly, of course, proactively limits health risk of technology from, of course, physical to psychological. So these are, of course, the characteristics of a good digital citizen. Then we have, of course, these five tenets, no? As we, of course, define the best assets of global digital citizens. So the first is personal responsibility. So from the word itself, personal responsibility, it includes, of course, demonstrating how we manage ourselves in matters such as our finance, the ethical and the moral boundaries that we have now, the first personal health and wellness, and relationship online and offline. We have also global citizenship. Okay, and it talks about understanding the technology has these whole boundaries between all, of course, the world's people. So we therefore, of course, communicate, collaborate, and celebrate across all levels of society. And here we cultivate acceptance. I like that one. Understanding and compassion and humility rather. Again, cultivates acceptance, understanding, compassion, and humility. And then we have also digital citizenship. So it covers appropriate and exemplary behavior in our online environments. And it is working towards, of course, making our transparent digital world safe for ourselves and others. So there is, of course, a must that we need to, okay, have a safe place, no, for ourselves and of course for others. It's with, of course, digital citizenship. Okay, we have number four. It's about altruistic service. So the best term that we can have there is, or here is, of course, the altruism. It is defined as having, of course, a selfless, okay, or selfless concern for the well-being of others. And it includes, of course, embracing the opportunity to exercise charity and goodwill for the benefits of others. So that's altruistic service. The last that we can have in, of course, the tenets that we have is the environmental stewardship. So it is, of course, it is more on common sense values and then appropriate for the beauty and majesty, that surrounds us every day. And here it encourages every learner to take a positive stance on personal, local, to international actions. Of course, regarding the preservation of what is essentially our environment community. So we could be a good stewards now of our environment, particularly, of course, the environment community. Okay, wherein we can have it. Okay. So that's of course the five tenets. Let's have of course the nine elements of digital citizenship. So here um, we have this quotation from Spider-Man that says, "With great power comes great responsibility." So what are of course the nine elements of digital citizenship? Number one is of course the digital access. Here the educators and students are aware that not everyone has equal access to technology resources. Okay. Another element is digital commerce. So here, if you notice nowadays, it's very common that we have, of course, the online selling, no? Uh, Probably buying and selling online is the most or the best example of this digital commerce. So there are, of course, benefits and, of course, the dangers of this. Okay, the third one is, of course, digital communication. So the question here is, do students understand what is appropriate to share, thought? Okay, share, of course, their thoughts, no, through, of course, email, texting, video chatting, and of course, the social media for that. The fourth one is, of course, digital literacy. So those students, of course, and teachers know how to use various digital technologies and how to access legitimacy of web resources. It's with, of course, digital literacy. The fifth is, of course, digital etiquette. So the question here is, those students know when to use technology appropriately and always in a positive manner. So that's with, of course, etiquette, the way we behave. Okay, the number six is digital law. So the question here is, do students understand how to use and share digital content legally and how to respect content ownership by citing sources? So do we cite our sources or the references that we have? Okay, so that is with, of course, digital law. And number seven is about, of course, digital rights and responsibilities. So here the question is, do students understand that they have, of course, have a right to safe and friendly digital communications? Okay, and of course, a responsibility to report instances that threaten these. So it's with, of course, our rights, the digital rights and responsibilities that we have. So take note, okay, with whatever we do, we need to become, of course, responsible. Number eight is, of course, digital health. And the question is, are students aware of the physical and psychological dangers, okay, of excessive internet usage? Take note of the word excessive. Okay, over. Na. And number nine is digital security. So the question here is, do students know how to stay safe by using difficult passwords? Do we have passwords or are we sharing passwords or our passwords? Okay, even virus protection, we need to be careful. Backing up of data. Do you have backup of your files? And being aware of course, identity theft, no? Phishing and other online scams. Okay, so this is with, of course, digital security. Again, the nine elements of digital citizenships are number one. Okay, sorry for the interruption, because of probably low, of course, connection. No, it's not good connection. So again, we have, of course, the 9 elements of digital citizenships are digital access, digital commerce, digital communication, digital literacy, digital etiquette, the digital law, the digital rights and responsibilities, even digital health, and of course, digital security. So these are, of course, the 9 elements of digital citizenship. Let's continue with, of course, lesson 19. So this talks about, of course, the citizenship and etiquette in online communities. Okay, and here the netiquette is being defined as, of course, the code rather of proper conduct applied to virtual online spaces. So this code is dictated by common sense rules, which talks about, of course, our manners and, of course, the social conventions. So netiquette is from the word net plus etiquette. And an etiquette is also the rules, no? Of socially accepted behavior online have to be observed in writing email, for example, in texting and other communications on the web. So this definition is from Dr. Bilbao. And of course, being defined also is the netizen. And according to the Merriam-Webster dictionary, it is an active participant in the online community of the internet. So it is called, of course, netizen. But however, the medical dictionary refers to it as the internet, of course, citizen who uses network resources, which connotes civic responsibility and participation. I like that one. Okay, what is being emphasized here is, of course, having civic responsibility and participation. And thus, citizenship means, of course, needs citizenship in the internet or in the virtual world. We have, of course, the 14 netiquette rules now used. Okay, and here is a quick roundup. The first is before posting your questions to a discussion board, you need to check if anyone has asked it already and received a reply. So this connotes probably no of the task of being a student and a teacher. The next is to stay on topic. Don't, of course, post irrelevant links, comments, thoughts, or pictures. Supposing that we're, of course, having a GC, no, we will set an example of being or of having, of course, a GC for a class. So we need to stay on topic. The third is we don't type no in all caps. If you do, of course, it will look like you are screaming or shouting. And don't write anything that sounds angry or sarcastic, even as a joke, no, because without hearing your tone of voice, your peers might, of course, not realize you're joking. So we need to be careful. And always remember to say please, no, and thank you, and of course even sorry, no, when you commit something, or please and thank you when soliciting, of course, help from your classmates. And another that we can have is to respect the opinion of your classmates, no? Respect begets respect. The same with, of course, love. Now, if you feel, of course, the need to disagree, do so respectfully and acknowledge the valid points of your classmates' arguments. And if you ask questions, many, of course, people respond. You need to summarize now all answers and post that summary to benefit your whole class. And of course, be brief. Okay, be brief. Okay, so if you write a long dissertation in response to a simple question, it's unlikely that anyone, of course, will spend the time to read through it all. So be brief, be short, now with your answer. Okay, be short. Okay, or be brief with the answer. And I would like to highlight this think, okay, before you click. So when we say, of course, think, this is an acronym of how many letters? You have 5. Okay, and the T is for true. We need to think if it is true. H is for helpful. Is it helpful? Okay, I is for inspiring. Question is, it is inspiring. N is for necessary. Okay, it is necessary then, and K is it is kind. So that's it. Again, we need to think before we click, or probably before we post. So think. Through, H is for helpful, I inspiring, and is necessary, K is for kind. So that's it. And another is if you refer to something your classmate said earlier in the discussion, just of course quote just a few key lines now from their post so that of course others won't have to go back and figure out which post you're referring to. And before, of course, asking questions, check the class FAQs or frequently asked questions, or search the internet to see if the answer is obvious, okay, or easy to find. So these are no, and of course, check the most recent comments now before you reply to an older comment. And of course, be forgiving. If your classmate, of course, makes a mistake, don't measure him or her for it. Just let it go. So be forgiving again. And of course, run spelling and grammar. Check now before posting anything to the discussion board. Okay, so these, of course, are the 14 Netiquette rules, okay, that we need to remember and, of course, apply. Let's have lesson 20. And this talks about intellectual property rights and the development and use of digital materials. So here we define plagiarism. And according to Merriam-Webster Online Dictionary, to plagiarize means to steal or pass off the ideas or words of another in one's own, to use another's production, okay, without crediting the source. You claim it as your own. And then we have to commit literary theft. And then we have to present as new and original idea or product derived from an existing source. And okay, in other words, plagiarism is an act of fraud. No? It involves, of course, stealing someone else's work and lying about it afterwards. So that's with, of course, plagiarism. So the following are considered plagiarism. Number one, turning in someone else's work in your own. The second is copying words or ideas from someone else without, of course, giving credit. And the third one is putting or failing to put a quotation in a quotation marks and giving incorrect information about, of course, the source of quotation, then changing words but copying the sentence structure of a source without giving credit. And of course, copying so many words or ideas from a source that it makes, of course, makes up the majority of your work, whether you give credit or not, okay, for that. And we have also plagiarism for images, videos, and music. These can be, of course, the following. So copying media, especially images from other websites to paste them into your own papers or websites. Then making a video using footage, okay, from others' videos or using copyrighted music as part of the soundtrack. Another is that performing another person's copyrighted music, like playing a cover, and lastly, composing a piece of music that borrows heavily from another composition. So that's of course with the images, videos, and music. Okay, according to plagiarism.org, okay, and of course, this was, of course, a report, no? Or plagiarism.org reported that 36% of undergraduates admit to paraphrasing or copying few sentences from internet source without footnoting it. Okay, and 24% of graduate students self-report doing the same. So when we say graduate students, yeah, the master's degree or the doctorate degree. Okay, and 38% admit to paraphrasing or copying few sentences from written source without footnoting it. And 25% of graduate students self-report doing the same. And 14% of students admit to fabricating or falsifying a bibliography, and 7% of graduate students, of course, self-report doing the same. And we have also 7% self-report copying materials, almost word for word from a written source without citation. And 4% of graduate students, of course, self-report doing the same. Then 7%, of course, self-report turning in work done by another. and 3% of the students, graduate students, self-report doing the same. Then 3% report, of course, obtaining paper from term paper mill, and of course, 2% of graduate students report doing so. So that's, of course, from the plagiarism.org. And we have 10 types of plagiarism that, of course, we need to know no, as academic writer and probably even as a student, okay, and teacher soon. So we have, of course, the first is clone plagiarism, and it is also called identical copying, no? Individual duplicates another work, okay, word for word, take note without any alteration and claim as his own work. And of course, remix plagiarism. It's an individual collect information or facts from various sources and mix all together from the word remix, mix, no? A single document and claim the work as his own work. Okay, what's bad there is, of course, you claim that it's yours. Then hybrid plagiarism, it is a plagiarism, okay, wherein perfectly cited source documents are copied and arranged as new document without citation, hybrid. Okay, then we have control C plagiarism. These, of course, happens when a significant portion of text copied from any single source without any alteration in the written document. Then we have also this recycled plagiarism. And so it is also called self-plagiarism. It is the act of borrowing from one's own previous work without, of course, an appropriate citation. So that's recycled plagiarism. Okay. We have also the find and replace plagiarism. So this happens when you alter the most common keywords. That is why it is known as find, no, and replace. Okay. Other than the keywords, you have, of course, phrases in the copied content and not making any changes in the important document. We have also the mashup plagiarism. So it happens, of course, when the written article is copied from more than one, of course, one source, and all are mixed together without any proper citation, mashup. Okay. Then we have 404, error plagiarism. So in this type, an individual creates a document by copying from various sources and prepares a single document with the citation. But if the citation is inaccurate, it will lead to non-existing resources. We have also aggregator plagiarism. So this happens when the written article includes all the proper citation, but it does not, of course, contain original work. We have also the retweet plagiarism. So this happens if all the article seems perfect with properly cited mark, but still the document resembles somewhere the original text structure or wordings. So that's the retweet plagiarism. We have also the intellectual property right. And according to the World Trade Organization or the WTO, when we say intellectual property rights these are the rights given to persons over, of course, the creations of their minds. And they usually give, of course, the creator an exclusive right over the use of his or her creation for a certain period of time. For example, a book. If you are an author of a book, probably you're given with, of course, the copyright, no, for 50 years. And we have, of course, the intellectual property or the IP. And according to World Intellectual Property Organization or the WIPO, it refers to the creation of the mind. I like that one, creation of the mind, such as inventions, literary and artistic works, design and symbols, names and images used in commerce. Take note of that. Okay. And an intellectual property rights is a right held no, by a person or by a company to have exclusive rights over these. So internationally, these intellectual properties are protected by the World Intellectual Property Organization, the WIPO. Okay, of course, our very own and love country now. Love country, the Philippines is one of the 191 member states. Okay, and in our country, we have the IPOFIL, now, or the Intellectual Property Office of the Philippines, which administers and implements state policies in retention to intellectual property. That's very nice. And it was created actually through Republic Act 8293. Again, it was created through Republic Act 8293. And these acts actually defines intellectual property to include the following. We have number one is copyrights and related rights. We also have trademarks and service marks, the geographic indications, no? Industrial designs, patents, layout designs, which talks about, of course, the topographies of integrated circuits, and of course, protection of undisclosed information. So that's it. Okay. And however, no, in not all of these can be applied to education. So in the education setting, copyright and of course related rights are the ones applicable. That's of course with book by Dr. Bilbao. And we have of course the IP, no? It is actually protected by law. Okay. By for examples, no, the patents, the copyrights, and trademarks, which enable people to earn recognition or financial benefit from what they invent or create. Okay, so a patent is an exclusive right granted for an invention. Again, it's patent. Now, generally speaking, a patent provides the patent owner, okay, with the right to decide how or whether the invention can be used by others. In exchange of this right, the patent owner makes technical information about the invention publicly available in the published patent document. So there is information on how probably to use and many more about it. Okay, now. And we have also the trademark. It is a sign capable of distinguishing, of course, the goods and services of one enterprise from those of another. And trademarks date back at the ancient times when artisans, of course, used to put their signatures or mark on their products. So example that we can have is the Nike, the Adidas, for example, and any brand that there's, of course, a trademark. Okay, so we have also the copyright, and it's a legal term used to describe the rights that creators have over their literary and artistic work. Take note when we say, of course, copyright, we talk about literary and artistic works. And works covered by copyright range from the books that we have, the music, the paintings, the sculpture and films, no, to computer programs, databases, the advertisements that we have, the maps, and of course technical drawings. So it's with of course the copyright. And there is also the word copyright infringement, no? It is actually a violation of an individual organization's copyright. It describes, of course, the unauthorized use of copyrighted materials, such as text, no? Photos, videos, music, software, and other original content. Okay, so this is the end of course, of our lesson. For our references, you can see, okay, some, of course, books now that we can use for this. Okay, it's nice, of course, having with you. Okay, today, as we, of course, discuss our last module for technology for teaching and learning. Kindly like, of course, and share this video so that other education students and probably other people can also have information regarding, of course, the topic. This is again Sir A saying, of course, thank you so much and God bless. Bye bye.